Yay, we're live. I'm so not enthused or thrilled about it, am I? I'm in the red light district. I am the red light district. What's up, family? Resident, residentially challenged. Uh, Boulder and Homeless, aka Quim Hawkins. It's crazy how much that makes it look bright when it's actually dark with the red light. So I guess that's good to be aware of for this camera and its settings. Uh, yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? I got three hats on, and none of them are the one. Excuse me, that I want to be wearing. Those probably can go back in there. That's why there was only that one thing on because of that. That's crazy, man. All right. So I got coffee on. I got some information, and weirdly enough, just having the information helped things, like help my brain not freak out over stuff. So maybe I'm not stressing out over things that don't need to be stressed out over. Not that stressing out ever does anybody any good, other than it helps you figure out how to not stress out over it in the future. Um, so, there it is. I did finally eat. I got a cinnamon raisin peanut butter sandwich, and I'm gonna try to shoot you in the house. That was too hard. I wanted on big. But what most people think of as a toaster oven, I see as a no fan convection oven, or in this case, uh, horizontal space heater or vertical space heater. And it's making me realize that if no matter where I go, I should probably take both toasters. I have a toaster oven that was like dirty to a point, and not dirty, but like just stained from a couple, 3 years of use as my primary cooking thing. So, a crumb spills, it turns into an ash. All that ash with smoke, then that turns it all brown. There's probably stuff I could see. Oh shit, that was more solid that was a nugget. Hammer deal. Buy it before you roll over it. And hopefully, I revisit that. And I don't see it in any projected. Oh, was it up there? No, those are chips. No, those are coffee beans. Why are batteries on the floor? Ooh, ooh, oh, oh. Oh, there's the hat that I want under the bottom. It's funny. The hat that is on the very top is the. Oh, now you can see how dark it is in here. That's realistically what it looks like. This is one or two headlamps. Ooh, ouch. I guess it doesn't go to where there's only one red light. But the cool thing, because it's a camping headlight for whatever reason, one button turns it so it's a motion detector light. So I can do that. And I'm pretty sure if I don't move it, it'll go out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the other way around. But I like red light because it looks great there, and you can't see it out much here. And that actually makes that camera with the red light almost infraredable. So many weird little tips I've learned. Like, I'm not sure that 3 hats keeps it any warmer, but what I have found is if I get the hats, what the hell just happened? And I pull it all the way down where there's only the little smallest part, but then I push it up to where I would like wear it when it wasn't so bad. I have this pocket of warm air on the top where it's all bald. And the cool thing about being bald is wearing a hat don't mess up your hair. There's usually something cool to be found in almost anything. Almost kind of what makes you wonder if hell is the opposite of for everybody. Like people that like the cold, hell's hot, but people that like the hot, hell's cold. If revenge is like hell, then hell is served best warmed over. Oh, revenge is best served cold, meaning you remember longer than they remember, and then you smack it with it. Like, yeah, I'm sorry about your luck. Like if somebody gave me a 10-pack of LSD and said, "Do what you want with it," fuck it, I'm gonna just say it right now. I don't care, no matter what flavor it is. 100 of them are going into homegirl somehow. She don't wear gloves, so Vaseline on her hand grips seems like the annoying part is the Vaseline. If I used Crisco instead of Vaseline, that shit actually freezes. So you could put it on at night when it's warm and the vehicle thing is cold. So then everything gets cold and it just chunks on there. Might make it easier to take off, but it seems to always leave a residue. Somebody did that to my car once. Oh, my video got blocked in some countries because it's got music in it. That's crazy, isn't it? Some countries will actually make it so they can't see you breaking the law, I guess. And weirdly enough, where am I? I'm over here. You're right, I should do that. I'll put my video details over on the main screen. The hardest part about all of this is I'm trying to use fucking 2 screens on a 14-inch, very weak laptop. I'm glad that I'm up there now and not over there because turning that way is not good. So anyway, the information I found out. What I've heard my nurse doctor lady tell me before when I had my scan, I guess it was almost exactly a year ago or 13 months ago. I don't remember. It might have been the time before that. But at some point, they put me in the MRI machine. I did not like it at all. Way too long. Like if they did it and my head was sticking out, I wouldn't like it, and I'd be aware that it wasn't good for me. Whatever all those rays does to my body so they can see all the layers. I get what they're doing. It's just when it does it to this, it really, and everything's like right here. I'm not doing that ever fucking again. It's like, you want to do me neck down, and then at the very end do me this part, like whatever gets that. If this is not in the tube, I'm okay. You know, it's like water, except it's laying sideways because they put you in a shell like this. They lay you down on a bed. Imagine a circle that's maybe 3 foot in diameter or whatever. But then they put a platform right in the middle of that, and that raises up and down, but almost never past the halfway point. So the idea is that they put you down here, and then they try to get your axis, your front and your back axis, centered in that circle, which means for most anybody, everything's going to be like right here when there's all this space on the back. But I just ain't doing it. What I'm aware of is if I chose a year or whenever ago to go back in the can, that all that does is that means that I would have 3 to 5, if not 10 to 20 more appointments where I have to figure out how to get from here to there and there to here, which is fucking ridiculously impossible. And have everything that I need to exist while I'm going through that and whatnot. But the idea is I go to the can, I get scanned, I go to the doctor person, she forwards me to a specialist. Specialist looks at the scan, sees where the things are, looks at my doctor's recommendation, hopefully does better than she would do, decides where on my spine injections of cortisone can go to relieve the inflammation, which causes pinches in the necks, and that causes herniated. I think part of the condition of degenerative disc disease is having herniated discs, meaning the discs swell up and then pinch a nerve. C6 and C7 is exactly the biggest problem that I have because it affects almost everything with the exception of the lower feet. But since COVID, I've had problems with my toes and stuff. That tells me that I had that scan way before. I had it before COVID. But my I thought she said L2, L3, but from the diagrams and the medical things I looked at before I tried to sleep and didn't, they said something about L4 and 5 or something. And I'm usually really good at remembering letters and numbers. So L2, L3, C6, C7. I could flip the C's and the L's, but I probably remember those numbers for whatever reason. But without having the scan and looking at all of the whatever the medical journals people that show or say, which is essentially what a doctor would read to understand what their patient is going through. One of them was really not literally insightful because you can see inside yourself, kind of, sort of. But the reason I say it's not L2, L3, that I think there's something more happening up above that is because the diagrams and medical stuff that I saw. Oh, you're right. I'm gonna do that. I'm not sure if it helps. It may last longer. It may just not. But there's 2. I'm pretty sure the rule is like the medical. I'm not supposed to take more than 4 of those a day, and I'm prescribed to take 3. And I was prescribed to take 3 of those a day in 2008 or 10. And way back then, I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, I realized even then, I still haven't remembered Dr. James something. I'm not sure why. I think there's either S's or now I think it's an L. But anyway, he was my doctor at the clinic in Santa Fe. And he was a really good doctor, so much that he became the head of the whole clinic, and then the clinic expanded He was actually one of the few doctors that would volunteer at the homeless clinic. And that's how I got connected with him, because one of them was at the place that I signed up to have a case manager. It's like once the, I don't know how to put it, but a doctor told me I had a disability, and I thought it was not true, or I just didn't want to believe it, or I don't know what. Because I'm like, I'm not. Like, oh shit, don't do that yet. Just wait, stop. I fucking forgot that I remembered to forget to not forget. I forgot to remember before I forgot. But I put hot water on coffee so it would extra brew. And now, hopefully, I think, did I put the right amount of water in? Did I put water in? Because what I thought I did was I put a pot's worth of coffee in. Oh, and I learned that a scoop is 3 tablespoons, not one. So that's why that last pot, it was so watery. Because I thought I put enough coffee in there for 2 cups, and I only put enough in there for 1 weak cup. And tea colored coffee, like if I can see light through it, it's probably not strong enough. And not water, so just water. Oh, I should probably do that too. Um, Also, at some point, I think it was yesterday, although it was today, I think that I'm gonna make sure I'm only putting 1 cup of water. Well, a little bit more than 1 cup of water. It's got that in it, right? Did that all fall out? Weird. The other funny thing I got this picture that I've had forever. It was one of the few things my dad had made printed big. This was his softball team when I moved in with him. The guy in the gray is Arthur. He owned the bar. Where's he at? He's on this side of the That's my dad right over there. Looking really white. And those are all the first cool adults outside of like my uncle and my great uncles. Yes, I guess they're my great uncles. Like when I moved in, when my mom moved us to Kentucky, um, my grandmother and grandfather lived on a street, and then at the end of the lane where my grandmother and grandfather ended up moving was Uncle. Let's see, there was Uncle Frank, Uncle Lauren, and Uncle somebody. There was no Thomas. There weren't doubters in that family. They were all pretty. I almost think that my grandmother's side of the family was the religious or Christian influence that my grandfather needed to not be a wild person like he was. It wasn't until way long even past I even remember. He might even passed away. I didn't even know that they both growing up, maybe even before mom. I think mom's older than Stan, but not as much as Missy, my half sister, and I. But it's sort of weird how both my oh yeah, that's the watery shit. Ugh. Ugh. Coffee. I like my coffee like I like my women like I like my first one of my first jokes that I wrote when I was working on stagehand, but knew I was falling apart to a point I couldn't do it for long. I was at a coffee shop, and this girl at the coffee shop was kind of cute and was making a lot of noise. She goes, "Sorry, I'm loud," and it just hit me. I was like, I like my coffee like I like my women, straight and loud and strong, straight, strong, and loud. That's just hot water. Shouldn't need that, but I'm hoping that this makes that edible. It's not really the right word, but it is the right word when it's most things. say my food intake too. I think if you can learn to live on whatever is I still think that if I could figure out how to make this organic produce, it's, I got it from my dad when he had cancer. And I think my stepmom sent it all back to me, or I bought extra because I thought I would have a chance to send me 2 boxes, and I didn't. But the idea is that it's a plant-based protein. It's like 21 grams per serving, which is double what any normal $20 meal would provide. One of these, if not all of them, have some kind of greens and all that extra stuff that you'd get if you were. I put that, like a scoop of that, in frozen bananas, and I get 2 or 3 of these, which is similar in size, but not. I'm not sure if it's the same capacity because this thing is weight. I think it's a lot thicker than it appears because it looks like it'd be 32 or 46. Oh, that's definitely tasting coffee-ish. It's like so extra coffee that I want to put creamer and stuff in it, but I ain't gonna. But anyway, what I was saying about the way my feet have been the nerves, like I couldn't sleep the first time, and what is L2? What nerves are those things? So I found the C6 and C7 covers a lot of stuff more than I thought. It's not just arms, but the higher up, like if it's the C2, C3, you feel it in your shoulders. C3, C4 is triceps. I think C5, C6 maybe is biceps. It didn't say what nerve C6, C7 is, but it would make sure sense that it's the hand. Because my hand, this one for sure feels like 1% of my right foot, which normally feels about 5% tingly always recently. And at 10% tingly, it's 5% unfunctional. Like 5% is the number I give that I can tell it's messing up, but I can still almost function to a point where I don't think that it's messed up. But that's how I kind of heard it because I like got up from my chair. It was during COVID, and I was living in that room, I think. And so I was against this wall, maybe facing this way. And instead of going out a door and straight, I would come off, go around the corner, then around the corner into the bathroom. And my foot didn't move the way I thought it was going to move, and it slammed into the wall and like jammed it super hard. It got way fat. Then it shrunk down. Then I went to the doctor and be like, why is my foot damaged? And then they put me in the can and, oh, it's your L2, L3, or C6, C7. Because the first time doctor, I'm going to remember it. It's just I got to put juice back on that area of synapses so it refires all of those stored memories. Now I can see why those lighters were created, because soldiers can't use that kind of light and this kind of light. That lighter blasts the fuck out of the camera. Do you see that? Like it almost looks like I'm standing in sunlight. It's that bright. But it is so not that bright in this room. It just happens to be how that camera and the red light picks up. And all my red light is right now is one of those bike lights. I think it's when I got the bike, because that white bike is a clunker bike that Mr. Glenn gave me. And it was just something that was left over that it was so bad the homies at the shelter wouldn't strip it. It's that bad of a bike. Like there's not a part on it that a homie wants or wanted. It's got tire. It's got tubes. The tubes, I think, will hold air for more than a day. But it's way heavy, and if I have a hard time taking me up and down the stairs, like when I moved in here, I could put that bike on my shoulder and carry it up the stairs without hitting anything. after about a year and a half or something, after the COVID, it was my left foot then, and I couldn't walk on that for like almost 2 weeks. It was like so bad, I knew that I needed crutches or better worse. But you can't have a wheelchair even temporary if you live on the third floor because, well, I mean, as of right now, the only thing the chair has to do is get me from here to the bathroom and back because I'm not using any of that. I haven't used that other part almost at all. And moving everything into here just means I don't have to get up and go in there and use it and listen. Here, it's not like I listen. All I have to do is walk in that room, and if anything's going on in the other room, from as simple as a trickle of water to a that is like out of 10 decibels is two to my ears, which is two to my ears, which is really funny because this one's clogged with wax. But for whatever reason, when either here or when I was laying down, this ear starts picking up these weird low frequencies as if there's a sound, but it only hears that one part. And it's like it's a machine of some sort because I hear it going like on and then off. And there's a timed pattern to it that I recognize, but it's not constant. It's fucking weird. But the good news is 3, 4 weeks ago, when I would press on my earlobe like this, it was nothing. It hurt because 3, 4 weeks ago, this was all crusty because I'd spent a couple weeks dousing it with anything I could think of to block, like unclog the ear. And I probably got a gram or two of earwax out, and still there was a chunk that's way up in there I can't get. And so the doctor was expecting me to go back with clear ears or clogged ones. So she said, I told you you're being difficult. And I'm like, you wanted to do something to me that I'd done for a week, like 10 times over a couple weeks or a week. I did it really hard at first and it didn't do anything. So I let it sit. Then it got crusty and scabbed and hurt. And then that healed. So I started doing it again at bigger intervals with more dilution on the hydrogen peroxide. But the more diluted the peroxide is, the less it eats the earwax, but the more it eats or the less it hurts anything, but the less functional it is, I guess. And I'm almost positive if I had a heating pad and I put it on my head to a point where I sweat, my head would be hot enough that the wax in my ear canal or whatever would soften so it would come out easy. But my point is, I can now hear some squishy. So I've gotten enough out of it that there's space for the stuff that's way up in there. Maybe I don't even know if it's in or sideways. It feels like from here it's up there somewhere, a couple 3 inches. Like if that knuckle could go into my head, I think I'd be right where the earwax ball is right up in there. But if I massage this part and go like this and push, I hear a squish, 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 squish. Where before it was just totally dry, and I don't know if it was impacted, but now if I push like that and I let go, I hear, and like as the ear canal opens, I hear the wax like going squishies. Like I don't know how to put it other than that. That did help, and I'm hoping that eating the food and having the 2 ibuprofen instead of my supposedly one. The funny part is I'm still half under my max for a day, and hopefully I won't take any more of that for another 48 hours maybe. But the other thing I learned is all the exercises that I was saying I need my chair to let me do is all the exercises that the thing on the lumbar deal says I need to do. So it was like hamstring stretches, which is what I do when I straighten my legs and point my toes up and bend forward. And when I do this, that also stretches it, but it hurts the whatever's in my stomach. It's weird. And I'm not sure if it was the top one or the bottom one, but it's somewhere in there. I think it's the top, which is cervical. I think some people have what I have temporarily fixed by fusing the things, basically affixing the C6 and C7 so that's stuck. Something like this, and the bottom would be stuck, so I couldn't move my hips. So it'd be a bendy, flexible thing with nothing on the top, like a, a, a flexi wand in the middle with two stiff ends. And I'm not trying to be that guy at all. It sucks because I can see benefit to it because I'm programmed to be Pollyanna. So whenever negative shit comes, I keep going. What's the positive? There's positive. There's something. Oh, look at that. I accidentally lost and tossed a nugget, and I thought it was this one, and it's here. It must have been because when I do this, I'm now calling Watney it. I break it in half, but I don't smoke the big half. Like that's 2/3. So I set that somewhere where I won't mess with it or donk it or bink it. And that amount right there would normally be a bong hit, like a good rip. Oh, look, it looks a little purpley. Um, but I'll probably do this in 2 or 3 or 4 tokes. There's a little blockage in there, but it'll be fine. And that's partly because when I got my back scan and all that, my doctor noticed other problems in my lungs. Not problems, but conditions. She proclaimed it emphysema. And again, I can't not call her Dr. Aaron because the first year and a half that I was not in the homeless shelter, and she was like my doctor in the homeless shelter, I think. Like there were a couple that came for the clinic. It was a couple times a week. She was the one I usually got, I don't want to say stuck with, but assigned to. So I just stuck with that. When they said, here's your apartment, but we got to put you with these people because they're going to take care of the housing deal for whatever reason. Maybe they were the only ones that were available because nobody wanted to be with them. It's possible. Oh, I don't want to undo that because that's connected to the important thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep legs straight. If I had some of those football brace things with the metal on the sides that keep your knees from rolling, I could probably somehow figure out how to put a latch on this so it just holds my legs straight position. It's got to help my circulation. Like if I tuck my feet so they're back behind almost so my feet or my toes are down, my heels are up, but in line with my spine, um, it kind of works. But the problem is then circulation doesn't work really well. Like right now, the front of my right shin hurts. I don't know why. But when I think about that diagram, everything that I have hurt is connected to that L, C6, C7, L1, L2. The bottom, C6, C7 is right between, above this bump, I think, right there, which is like right there. I got a pain in my neck, I got a pain on my back, and just being awake hurts. Before any of this hurt, being awake hurt, but now that all this hurts, it's difficult, and I'm trying to get as much awake stuff done. There's just going to be a time I'll be not, maybe. If it's anything like the day before, but shorter, that means I'll be up for about 18 hours before I start getting tired. I think yesterday I was up 24 before I started getting ready to go to sleep. And then it took me another day and a half before I actually got to a point where I could. But thank goodness, I know it sucks, but the girl that's next door that's got the problems with taking care of her dogs like a decent person. Whenever it's quiet, I've learned that it means that she's not around. And the dogs are stuck in this teeny tiny kennel that's barely big enough for them. I don't think the poodle dog could, from the kennels that I've saw her clean out, the poodle dog wouldn't be able to stand up or go in a circle without being bent. The black dog could get big enough, but she keeps it in a kennel so it never grows. And it's young. But what I was saying was, when I have the opportunity of getting into a regular sleep schedule, and it's happened, it's because she's not around, and I don't have three people's worth of chaos or more coming from one to, like, the hallway. It's weird, and it's why it's part ghetto. Because I realized today, sometimes when I hear the door slam and I think it's over there, which is where the other half, like the outside's that way. But I found the guy down there, I think, is the guy that coughs. And by down there, I mean 2 floors below me, but he comes out and the door slams. When the outside doors, there's three doors over here and three doors over there. When they close, if you don't at least put your hand by it when it closes, it slams shut like bam. And it's not like it's something you feel. You don't just hear it. It's like if I had music on and everything, I'd still know, I'd still be aware that the door slammed because I would feel it. It goes through the floor. But I guess that bottom one somehow makes it feels almost as much as that one. But I think that one's, I don't know. One of them is louder than the other. But now I ate not enough. I ate barely an appetizer. But it's what I ate. It's my dessert for my meal of half a can of sardines and a handful of chips. Oh, but the whole point of this was I got the camera up. I found the divider deal. I recognized that the top one's a 3.1, the back two are 3.0. So I was able to put the divider in there. I'm using the mic that's on that camera. I have a better mic in the bag, but it kind of requires something to hold it. And all of that stuff is either packed or in a place away that I don't want to deal with it. I'm feeling beclamped. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a change in a blood sugar thing or something, but it's like I almost feel like I felt enough tired wave over me to lay down and try to sleep again. It's now 5:40, so if anybody gets home, Jed won't get loud now until this afternoon or this evening, probably, if he does. It's almost always 5 days a week or more. But like I said, he's all right. With both my doors shut, I hear him, but it doesn't like invade me. It's just something that I hear, and then he goes outside and I hear it, and as he gets down the street, I don't hear it. And because he doesn't slam the door, he usually stops even if he does more than one lap and goes back in his apartment. I think what he does is he leaves his cigarettes in there. He'll take one cigarette out. He'll walk out. When he gets to by the street out there, he lights it. And then when he walks that way and then back and then around the block and to the other side, probably when he finishes it. And then he walks up the stairs, goes in his apartment, has another whatever, and then needs to release. I mean, I get that too. I can't imagine being, well, like me, but in how other people see me. Because I think psychic people would think I'm like him, because my stuff goes out and as if I'm yelling. Like I had somebody once tell me in a way that made me think that that was more likely true than not. But I said something about sorry about being loud, and she goes, "Dude, you're so loud. I hear you walking like 2 or 3 blocks away." But see, when she said it, she was talking in like a psychedelic, psychic sort of way, saying literally that before I got within 2 or 3 blocks, she either knew that I was there from she was a drug dealer, or she was a drug dealer's girlfriend, dealer. I'm not even sure. Usually, if the woman's a dealer, she almost always has a man she learns to pretend is the dealer. So if shit goes down, he gets caught. Yeah, I would like all of that. Even though I don't do meat much, I would totally eat bacon and eggs and hash browns and a small side with a single biscuit and sausage, Jimmy Dean, gimme lean sausage, is it? I think gimme lean is the stuff that's not animal. It goes one of the first like vegetarian vegan things I ever ate on accident and found out it was better than the real stuff. I used to go to this coffee shop, and then when they moved, they expanded, had a kitchen, and then on weekends they'd have a really necessary but profitable buffet that helped keep the cost down for everything else to back, what it was when they started, I guess. I don't remember like coffee or maybe even back then coffee was almost $10 a pound. We were coffee shops, and now it's more than that. It's like, I guess thanks to Starbucks and Amazon, that's probably where it started too. A pound is a certain size, and it's a certain size. So when you look at a bag that looks that ratio of size, you think that's a pound of coffee. But if that pound of coffee is actually 12 ounces, there's 4 ounces that aren't in that pound. So if you pay for 12 ounces for the price of a pound, that's 25% inflation. But if it stays the same price, 25% inflation. But if it stays the same price, it does go up. But then when that becomes, instead of $8-10 a pound, it becomes $12 to $15 a 12 ounce. That's a lot more inflation kind of hidden, because first all you have to do is look at all the stuff that always sells no matter what. Then you look at what only sells when times are difficult, and you make that the most expensive and hardest, like rarest, such as something like chocolate or something that does not grow in where we live, no matter what we do or try. I'm pretty sure chocolate's one of those things. I know I'm trying to make myself find something else to eat, and it's difficult when all I have is egg noodles and super duper 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 emergency food. Raisins probably would be good. Somebody, I had a doctor of some sort, was telling me about elevation and oxygen. The oxygen in dried raisins, because there's lots of iron in grapes, or at least when they dry. So I think he said a couple handfuls. For a while, I thought it was a couple scoops. But if I put what I think 2 handfuls out, that would probably be 2 tablespoons, 2 heaping tablespoons. That's a handful, but it's actually 2 whatever. I originally poured some and goes, that's a handful. I did it again a second time, put that on the lid, poured the lid in my hand and looked at it and go, now that's a single. That was some of those chocolate chips. It's like unmade goober grapes. Or not goober grapes, what are those things called? Goobers or peanuts. And I think there was a candy that was called a goober. That was a peanut wrapped in chocolate. And I think it's why people who were poor during and or after the Great Depression were called goobers, because they could, not comfortably, but they could utilize combination of chocolate and raisins, or chocolate and chocolate and peanuts, because the chocolate would have, your sugars, your oil, some of your oils, whatever it is that's in cocoa that's good for you. I think there's a few different things, but equal amounts of chocolate and raisins. And if you think about it, I'm aware, for whatever reason I'm aware, trail mix is actually not good to eat. And it's not that any of the individual things are not good to eat. But there's something that happens in our digestive system where peanuts and raisins are somehow opposite. Meaning, it takes one kind. Hello, check. That microphone is not moving. Have I been sitting here talking and nothing's moving? Okay, that doesn't sound like this. I don't know. It's just the little meter's not moving like it was when it was hooked to that. Because I'm using that microphone. So I will have to use that extra port for the other mic. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that you can. I almost think that peanuts were something, the reason that was a problem. Like chocolate and raisins, the digestive stuff, the chemicals that your body uses to pull the chemicals that are in the food that you want are different from peanuts versus raisins and chocolate. So when you mix the two, I think the enzymes or whatever it takes to break down the peanuts dominates because it's more solid. Like it's more harder to break down. So your body goes, this is hard, this is easy. Push this into the soft stuff and it'll get figured out. Add the stronger acids or whatever for the peanuts. But something in the chemicals to digest the peanuts makes it so you can't pull out the nutrients in the raisins or the chocolate. It's just this weird thing I had to. If you imagine everything's the way it is for a reason, and then you also acknowledge that at the time that reason, one more, two more, which is the lowest power setting. But anyway, when like a 7-course meal, for example, the reason it's designed with the foods that it is has probably a lot more to do with the way that digestive system works and the interaction. Like, I'm not sure. I think there's a reason that people normally eat a salad before they eat the meat. And I don't think it's because poor people remove the most. Like if you had a 7-course meal and you remove different courses, that's like a wealthy person can afford the 7. An average person can afford 4. A poor person affords 2, maybe 1 of those 7 types of food. What I was thinking earlier about the Arthur's friends, most of those people, I think Clayton was he was a helicopter pilot, but I think he was Army. I'm aware that Mike and his brother, I think, were both in the Army. Mike was a tunnel rat. I think his brother is the chubby one below him, but he might have had 2 brothers. And the other, almost everybody else, as far as I'm aware, were all solo individual people. I think the guy with the afro was he might have been a painter, but I think he was also a photographer. And the guy maybe Rodney was a photographer and that guy was the painter. That's what it was, I guess. Excuse me. I guess guess if I was a sports fan, I'd remember them by the positions they played, but all I remember is my dad played pitcher and catcher. And I don't know why he played those two positions, other than he probably didn't feel he had the feet that he could run and play any other position. I don't know what that said or why, but I'm at 50 minutes. There's my first. Ouch! That's so weird. It's like that. My shin hurts like I thumped it on something, but I was. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Oh, that'll help, right? Oh, maybe. So I had my golf pants folded like that with my sock over the top, so it was insulated, warm, but also kind of tight. And where it was folded was like not digging in, but irritated, like pressing in hard on a spot right by my shin. So it didn't hurt for a long time, but it sat that way for so long, it got to be like, holy crap, what that's wrong there? Sucks every time I think I get floor space, foot space, I put my foot out and there's nothing there. And then I think I'm being like, when I wake up and I'm sitting like this is okay. When I start getting tired, all of this falls, which causes the pain, which then causes a lot of the difficulties. And then when I do that, this gets funky and the bottom starts screwing up. And to fix that, I have to do this, which like that makes my back feel like it's straight and better, but it messes this up because it makes it bent again. I need to keep it straight. So like if I was on a straight board like that, I probably wouldn't hurt much, but I wouldn't be at all mobile. And for, I don't know, a while, it's been so my neck like that, doing back and forth. I almost always have to turn my shoulders to like I think I used to be able to do 45 both ways or more, and now like 40 on each way is tough. And the other difficult problem about having ADD, like if I see a chart and it says I have to do more than 3 sets of 10, I won't do them because I won't remember the different numbers. It's like I saw exercises for the bottom, exercises for the top. I remember the bottom one was to lay on my back on a flat, hard surface with my feet on the floor. So my knees are bent like that, and my back is pressed against the floor. And then I'm supposed to suck in my gut to push my spine flat against the floor and then release that. And then it said do that, I think, 30 times, 3 times. And I'm like, what? So it's essentially doing inverted stump, like sit ups, but just using compression as the exercise, pushing my spine back 30 times regularly from the inside. Uh, and the weird part, and the reason I got a little tiny burst of energy that's gradually, quickly seeming to fade, aside from probably the burst in blood sugar, as I laid down for, I don't know, I did it a couple different times, a couple different ways. I know that. And it's weird because if I normally like sleep like this, I think when I was on the streets, I would do this because of where I slept and what I wanted my back against a safe place. And where I stayed, the wind, how do you put it? I almost always faced the east with my body north and south. And the last, my head was to the north. But normally, when I moved here, and even when I moved to the other apartment and then back, I sleep with my feet to the east so that I sleep magnetically to the earth, so it is I'm more inclined to rise early to the sunrise. And that means that when I sleep, my head is pointed at the sunset. And in a perfect world, I'd have a sundial bed that moved like that. I wonder how that'll be useful in spaceships, because if you were flying spaceships and you could time warp, you'd still have to be able to exist in a ship for long periods of time. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think 3 months was standard and 6 months was average, and 9 months or longer was long but doable. However, the question is, I think, is it possible? The reason ships are the size they are and designed the way they are, because that's the smallest it took to get from one side of the Pacific Atlantic to the other. Because that ends up being your gas tank, right? If you had a ship that could not operate with under, say, 20 people, 21 maybe, where the 21 gun salute comes from. Because if you don't have 21, like if the number 20, like if all your crew dies to 21, when the 21st person dies, you can't shoot guns. Something like that. I don't know. There's just something to it. And if I don't figure out what it really is, I'm sure I'll figure out some way of making it. It's weird. It's like the only time anybody in any of the government things actually does anything is when things are so bad and you're so miserable where you're at that the better choice is homelessness. And if I could, I would. I probably wouldn't bitch about it. I'd probably already be there like a year and a half, 2 years ago when I first was like, if that bitch moves back when I move back, I'm getting the fuck out of there. And it's been 3 or 4 years since then. Oh, was it? I think I was here about 12 months when I had to move. I don't know what it is. It's either a raisin. At first, I just wanted it out. Now I want it out, but I want to see what it is. Holy shit, is that my cheek? I think I bit my cheek and it swelled up. Uh-huh. I know exactly what it fucking is. I have like a, holy fuck. That ain't good. Huh. Man, when it rains, it pours. So I have a knot right in there, which is about where this tooth, this is, I think this actually was longer or bigger, but the tooth that's here, the last time I went to the dentist, they put a crown on it, which made it bigger, so this didn't fit right. So it pushes this part, the outside part, that way. This way. Because it's my left side, but when I look at that, it's my right side, and it's switched it up. So that's actually this side, right? Anyway, right here, I have this fucking, it's like it feels like the backside of an inside of a huge zit. like it's full of pus or something, and if I poked it, it'd just go. Oh, it'd be gross. But I really thought it was it's like floppy in there. It's so weird. It's like almost round. It's almost where I could see it, I think. Uh-huh. I knew about that. I doubt that'll work though, because the inside of my mouth is red also. It's even worse. Oh. I don't know. But anyway, it's right there. And the only way I can make sure I don't do it is to not talk. Or it's so weird because it feels just like a raisin. Like when it gets by my teeth, or and I must have been gnawing on it and couldn't feel it. Oh, I just popped. I felt it. I should use something that's white so I can see what the fuck it is, right? Yuck. This is gross. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh. 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 It's weird. I said it feels like the inside of a zit, and then I just kind of squeezed it, and like I could feel it in here and go. Oh, see how that goes green? That's because it's on that motion thing I was mentioning earlier. Because I'm dyslexic and I push down. Ah, it's not red, so that's good, right? Mm, okay. Seems to me to let the juice out of it. I don't know what the juice is, but there's juice in there. I can tell that. Yeah, it's about half deflated. Mm, third. Third. Huh. Mm. If you think it hurts popping a zit on your face, bro. Ah. Ah. Maybe if I just do that, enough padding, I won't bite on it. Ah, well, that makes me want to yak. All right, let's try to get water. Oh, fuck, man. It's so gnarly. It's like I can feel it like sort of flapping around in there. It's almost like it was a couple of pockets, and when I did the one squeeze, a one pocket broke, but the other pocket's still in there. So the flesh that was holding the first pocket in is now just flapping there. Oh, drag. Oh, I already did that, didn't I? Good monkey. Oh. I've been feeling good before all this stuff started falling apart. Ooh, wait. Now that I see it in the white light, that's definitely not clear. That's got red shit in it. I don't know if you can see that. But I can see it. Because to me, I see a dark spot with red and pink and yellow orange kind of around it. And I think that was right on the part that popped. This is what Chinese toilet paper tastes like. It's not horrible. Yeah, that's definitely weird yellow funky color. Almost looks like as if there's a chunk of something. Maybe that's skin. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the discolored fluid is definitely discolored fluid, but I think that thing I thought was a piece of flaky skin. No, there's a white something, yellow white something right there. It looks like a zit. But I was thinking that it's not body flesh, and it didn't come from my mouth immediately. I think it went into my mouth from this napkin. When I pulled the napkin out and laid it here, I think it might have picked up a little piece of tobacco. So when I put it in there and tried to squeeze, itch, what the hell is this? Now, right between my these two fingers is itching. It's like where it itches when I have a high, one of those medical things when you, I'm allergic to yellow jackets, and it's what happens to you when you get that. It's some type of anaphylactic shock. I mean, in the worst case scenario, whatever it is that's in there, this could be something that happened a little while ago and it got infected, and then it was swelled up, and I never noticed it because it was down here away from the teeth. And then I somehow got tired enough, relaxed enough, it got bit, which popped it enough to make it swell, but not pop. And then that time when I went, I felt it. But I was wondering if the itchy knuckle is what is my body freaking out because of what this stuff just juiced into my mouth. I don't know. I don't know. If you don't know, you have the worst idea and the best idea, and then you hope somewhere in the middle is what you're. I keep thinking I feel it. Oh, I must look at that. That's gross and gnarly and nasty. Yuck. Dude, that's in my mouth. Look. How gross, nasty. But it's good. It could just mean I pinched it and it got a blood blister in there. And I was able to pop the blood blister so all the blood squishes out like a zit. Now you can see it's lots. Crap, I'm gonna need more napkins. Sucks to be a monkey. You believe that? Like, just that is enough to really make a fucking dude's day go crazy. And that's just icing on the cake. At least I didn't, like, it would have freaked me the fuck out if I'd have gone to sleep and not really known this. Because I think when I laid down the most recent time, I didn't have the awareness that that could be there. I think I didn't. And I might have just done it. It might have happened when I was eating the raisin bread, peanut butter. But it does seem to be functioning like a pimple. If you notice, like at first it was that one little squirt, or not even a squirt, and then it was that huge. Oh, that's gross. I know it's gross, but it is what it is. It's my reality. Um, but like this was a brand new, clean, dry thing, and all of that wet and what is the pus and or blood that squirted out of that pea-sized zit in the inside of my mouth. And that's you're seeing the good side, or I was seeing the good side. But yeah, it's worth a second. A fresh take on the situation. Yeah, way better. See, like totally like a zit. That's about, I don't know, the right size for a pea-sized zit that just popped into my mouth. And then, even though I'm aware it's gross, but oh well, is what it is. Oh, this part. Oh, some of that might be coffee stain. That makes sense. But it looks almost like the pea-sized thing actually blew a lip that way and then blew the top off the second time. And there's one part that's still attached because there's blood mostly on one side, kind of on the other, but these two parts are. Oh, yeah, that popped another time, didn't it? Oh yeah, now it's totally deflated. Well, not totally. There's still some gook in there, but if the hole is open, and I put that in there, that's twice too big. That's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. But at least it went to the right spot. That needs scissors, and I don't want to use my mouth much. I don't want it to hurt more. Purple or blue, purple or blue. The hand candles, purple or blue. From the looks of it, that last little bitty pop was the last part that anything could pop. And that's how it feels. It's weird that I might have captured all that on film. Like, I'm pretty sure I woke up, I remembered or realized that I could make coffee. I can't really drink coffee with a fucking cotton swab in my mouth, though. Is that why they call it cotton mouth? I still think that I don't want to wear a bulletproof jacket, but if I had something on my upper body to keep this all at least encouraged to stay upright. And I'm also realizing that I'm not sure about the neck because from what it said, it's the inside that's damaged more likely. And I thought it was in the back but it might have been if you get your head hit this way, it might compress it on the inside. I don't know, it said something about car injuries or a normal reason for it. And I was sitting there I was laying there realizing I've been in like a few of those. I think only one was I wasn't knocked unconscious, but I was clobbered in the noggin. Like I was driving, the light turned yellow. I remember that, and I was sure. I don't know why, but I was sure when my light turned yellow, their light turned yellow. So when I went and he kept going, I was like, "What a dick!" When he was like, "What a dick!" So we were both looking at the other guy like the dick. And bam! And he was going so fast. I was in a huge, heavy, like a '70s fucking gas guzzler, and he hit me, and it moved me over a lane and a half, and I think spun me around. But what happened was when he hit, how did it happen? It happened so. Oh, I must have turned, and then I saw that he was kidding, so I turned harder, and he smashed into me this way, but I slid almost straight that way. My head banged against the inside of the door. And I remember I felt myself sliding and I hit it and I was like, whoa, that sucked. That's not going to be good. And I was still thinking that guy was an asshole. And I remember somehow getting to the door, opening it up and getting out and being like, you motherfucker, why did you do that? And then my head just went bleh and I fell down. I was like in oncoming traffic. And I guess I think my car went all the way. Like I was in the turning lane and there was two lanes. And I was right by the hospital they took me to, which is probably lucky. It's really making me feel nauseous and sick. I cannot drink, I will. Keep it on this side so the stuff that goes in there isn't as infected. If it's, I don't think it's an infection because I haven't noticed until just then. I think it's a blood blister that swelled up and then I fucked with it and it popped. But that's good because if I hadn't, it would probably be in there for a long time. And now I'm starting to feel ouch, like the pop part is getting saliva or whatever else. I don't know if it's killing the infection or if I don't think there is an infection. I think it was an accident. It just happened. It's like I couldn't get myself to shut up, so God figured out a way to fuck me up so I can't talk anyway. the energy that it takes to deal with this might be enough to make me tired, but I don't think so. I'd like to. I keep looking at my bed, wishing my body wanted to be there. My body does want to be there, but my brain seems to refuse to let me. And that's all wet and gross now, too. I have cotton balls, and 3 of them laying around somewhere. Oh, no, it's not this part, it's this part. I'm not sure if it's the same way for everybody, but one of the things I experienced when I learned I was allergic to yellow jackets, I was attacked by I was mowing grass. It was my job, and we had to do this one big thing, and for whatever reason, they wanted us to cut a place where we didn't normally cut. And it turns out that my mower went right over a yellow jacket's nest. I was going up to it. I got tagged once, right? And the way the yellow jacket venom or bees in general works is it puts a pheromone in your body that mixes with your body, so it releases other pheromones that attract all the bees, so they all swarm to the smell. Which I guess is why the idea of getting into water, not only do bees and stuff not fly, but it rinses off of those pheromones so they don't come looking for it. Like, I'm pretty sure the natural native way, if you had that happen to you and you survived, would be the first thing to do when you first start feeling the stings is to run towards water, jump in the water, and then when you get out, roll in the mud so that any puncture wounds that had the pheromones would be clogged with the mud. I'm not saying that fixes the stings, it just keeps more from happening immediately. And I guess the mud and the water would definitely cool down your body. So if you are allergic to that venom, it would be really slow. But what I had happen was, uh, by the time it was like multiple, like it was like a sting, and it was like a couple stings, and then it was like a bunch, like I got 5 or 6 on each leg, right? Bam. Um, and that was all within maybe 30 seconds because I'm walking with this mower. It's kind of is half self-propelled, but then I went like that, which releases the engagement, but the blades are still spinning, and it was sitting on or right next to a yellow jacket nest in the ground, and so they all just got me. I think it was more than they could count, but I remember it got to a point because how did it work? After I got stung and zapped and all that, I ran up towards the house, and eventually they seemed. I got far enough away, about half a football field, that I wasn't still getting stung by new ones. Though the lingerers were still around me. Anyway, I got to a point where they weren't stinging me anymore, and that's when like I started hearing a buzz in my ears, and my ears itched and my nuts itched. I remember that was like the 2 most biggest things. My ears, and they were kind of ringing. But then all these other things, and I was just like telling the guy, I was the boss, the crew leader, and I'm not sure, but I think the guy that was on the crew was kind of new, and he wasn't supposed to or allowed to, or normally a driver. Because when you're a driver, you drive with the truck and the trailer. But I almost think that we left the trailer there. I said, disconnect the trailer. I'm getting in the passenger seat. You're driving, and you're taking me straight to the hospital. I don't know why I was lucky because I got to some point where it was like, whoa, this is not right. They said I barely made it to the hospital. Well, I don't know. I don't really remember. I might have lost consciousness, but I know they said you're going to feel relaxed and nervous all at the same time. I go, what does that mean? They go, well, the one drug that's like epinephrine, epinephrine, uh, The two drugs that you need. Oh yeah, it's still bleeding. The two drugs that you need have opposite effects on you, kind of. Like one makes you sleepy and drowsy, the other makes you rusty and irritable. And as I understand, they're both necessary. Like I think those two things are what's in an EpiPen. Oh shit! I was supposed to get some of those from my doctor this time, and I totally spaced it. I had in my brain that this is the last time I was going to see my doctor for like 6 months, and being allergic to those things and other things, uh, I was like, oh, I need to get an EpiPen or two, but I forgot. I didn't forget. I just didn't want to walk with a cane in frozen, icy ground in this weather at 30 degrees to a place that doesn't want to see me. They just want my Medicaid money. I didn't want to be rich because I didn't want people to like me because I got money. And now that I'm poor, the only people that like me are because of the money that they can get that isn't really money. I mean, it's really money, but it's not money I could ever really see. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody gave me the money that they would spend on the Medicaid for the doctor to treat me to stay bad, I could probably fix it so it didn't get bad worse again. Like my lungs will go out before anything else. But I don't know anymore. That's what I thought. I could have been wrong. We'll see. For a long time, I was convinced I was going to die by falling out of a plane with no parachute. And the only way to avoid that fear is just not get on a plane. Well, it's not the only way. It was just one of them. And yeah, I'm gonna try. That's the 1 hour. That's three more 30-second deals. So I maybe put this in there, but half as thick. I can maybe. I still didn't find the scissors. Um, put it in there long enough, it'll clot. If I lay down and shut up, it'll rest this, it'll rest that, it'll rest my neck. Maybe my stomach won't feel upset and nauseous. I don't know if it's normal. I almost feel like Elvis acted a couple days before he died, like something in my subconscious is telling me not to eat because I don't want to I don't want to die in a big pile of shit. Because if you eat a bunch of food before you die, when you die, your whole body relaxes, and then when that happens, all of it, everything goes. And the less you have in you, the less it goes. I mean, by the time Elvis passed, I remember the last time I walked him out, he walked out. He was really wobbly, so I had to put his thing on. And it was one of the few times I was holding the handle for him. Like usually I hold the handle, it's for me. But this was so I could keep him steady because he was super wobbly. And at that time, I already knew that his lungs were basically covered in cancer and filling with liquid. When we took him to the vet said it was like halfway full, maybe. Like the whole thing was black, but the liquid was maybe not even halfway full. And it started to make sense because when I traced back some of the things I saw that he was at, like he started having a difficulty going like this and jumping up. I thought it was something wrong with his legs because he was like 13. But I think what it is when he went like this, all the fluid in his lungs that's normally on the bottom and all of the lung part still worked, it would tilt it this way and make it hard for him to breathe. All right, 130. Jeez, love you. That's episode 2. 1, 2. I think I started this thing and I meant to put episode 1 in or 2 or something in the description, and I might have ADD past it and forgot. It took me an hour and a half to realize I forgot the title of what I thought. Oh well, it is what it is. Sucks to be a monkey.